Catch all the kid video excitement coming your way from Family Home Entertainment. Like the latest and greatest Australian animated delight, Dot and the Smugglers. Kids will adore our brave heroine's adventures as she plots to preserve a legendary lake monster from becoming a sideshow exhibitor's dream. It's music, it's magic, it's Dot and the Smugglers. And don't miss Dot in her critically acclaimed struggle to rescue a very sick whale friend. Catch the movie-length home video spectacular tale, Dot and the Whale. And welcome to Mapletown, boys and girls, a warm, wonderful land of furry residents that share their lessons of friendship with young viewers. Climb aboard the Mapletown train to the land every kid and parent will love. Brand new to the cartoon scene, they're the wild Puffalumps, the softest, furriest, most lovable creatures ever, who can only be found on the Family Home Entertainment label. Watch out for wild Puffalumps. And we bring you all of the breathtaking wonderment of the greatest show on earth right to your door. Savor all of the spectacular pageantry of our nation's most dazzling entertainment treasure with the 116th edition of Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. So come one, come all, for the finest moments on video cassette. Family Home Entertainment's got them all.
When Martha, his mother, came to wake Will, he'd already started to dress.
Goodness me, up already? It's a good little Cwac. Come down and have your breakfast, chick.
All right, Ma'am.
A bowlful of cold wasp porridge was waiting for him. Will gulped it all down and licked the bowl clean before anyone could say, Llanfair mathafar neithaf.
Oh, finish, Ma'am.
Very good, Will. Now then, your father and I have to go shopping to the village. We want you to stay here to keep an eye on things, and we'll be back by dinner time. Right?
All right,
Will answered. Will saw them to the farmyard gate and waved at them until they disappeared. Then he rushed back to the house. But when he ran into the kitchen, he slammed the door so hard behind him that the old china dog fell off the mantelpiece and smashed into smithereens. Will turned quite white. He knew that his mother thought the world of the old china dog.
Oh, Cwac, great snails. Oh, what'll I do?
The next second there came a knock at the back door. It was his friends, of course.
Are you coming out to play, Will?
Asked Sioni.
Cwac, no,
Answered Will.
come in. I'm looking after the farm while Mum and Dad are in the village, and oh, look what I did when I slammed the door just now.
Ooh, Will,
Said Hugh.
you'll catch it for breaking the china dog, yeah? Well, why don't you hide the pieces then?
Asked Sioni.
Oh, no, Mum would be sure to miss it and start asking questions.
It's clear to me, Gobble Gobble.
Said Ivan.
It's clear to me that the thing to do is to put the china dog together again with glue.
Oh, yes, of course, said Sioni, and he soon had everything organised.
Where's your mother's wash tub?
In a jiffy, the wash tub was in the centre of the floor. When they'd filled the tub with water, Sioni started to put some of the flour into it and began to stir.
Is the glue ready?
Asked Will.
Well, I think it needs more flour.
Sioni said wisely. And they poured the rest of the flour into the tub, and Sioni stirred again until his arm was tired out.
It's ready now, I think,
said Sioni. Then Dick shouted,
Hey, Will, your mother and father are coming.
Will was scared. He could see the china dog still in pieces.
Oh, what'll I do? Oh, Cwac, I'll have a terrible row.
Wailed Will, and he began to jump and run around the place like a madman. And that's when he stepped on a spot where some of the glue had slopped over the edge of the tub.
Oh, help! Oh.
Will shouted, and he slid straight over the edge of the tub and fell into the glue, splashing it over everybody. And the next moment, Martha opened the door and stared in surprise. She told Hwmfra to put them under the pump while she cleared up the mess in the kitchen, and Hwmfra pumped and pumped.
Blue heavens, a russamussatamöðum.
Then they all had to dry in front of the fire and take a spoonful of medicine to stop a cold. And when Martha saw the china dog in pieces, she gave Will another dose of the medicine and sent him to bed early. A long time was to pass before Will was allowed to look after the house all on his own again. Good night. One morning when Martha went upstairs, Will was sitting up in bed.
Cwac. 1, 2, 3.
Good morning, Will. And what are you doing?
Counting my pocket money, ma'am. I want to buy the whip on top in Mr. Pugh the shop's window. I only need another threepence.
Will got up, dressed and hurried downstairs. Of course, there was a bowl of wasp porridge waiting for him. And by the time he'd finished it, she said,
Well, little Cwac, if you want to earn some money, I've got a couple of jobs that need doing.
Cwac. What, ma'am?
Well, Will, first of all, I want you to clean the windows. Here's a bucket and cloth for you. I'll give you the money at the end.
Clean the windows? Hooray!
cried Will. He dashed out to the back and slammed the door behind him so that Hwmfra's false teeth fell off the mantelpiece and bit his ear as he was combing his hair in the mirror.
Oh!
Snorted Hwmfra. First, Will cleaned the downstairs windows, holding the cloth in his beak and flying backwards and forwards. Then he flew higher and cleaned the upstairs windows. Martha was very pleased.
Oh, excellent indeed, little Cwac.
Is there anything else to do, ma'am?
Well, yes, there is, Will, a little job. Go to the garden and gather a bowl full of snails for supper, will you?
So Will hot-footed out to the garden and began to fill a big bowl with snails of every sort. Brown ones, white ones, speckled ones, until the bowl was full.
Very good, little Cwac,
cried Martha.
Here, you deserve your money.
And she gave him threepence.
Hooray! I've got enough now. Thanks, ma'am. Ta-ra!
But what about dinner?
Too late. Will was disappearing in the distance. When he reached Mr. Pugh the shop, there was no sign of the whip and top in the window. Mr. Pugh shook his head.
Very sorry, but I've just sold the last ones this morning.
And when Will came out to the street and saw all his friends, each one with a whip and top, and when he remembered how he'd worked so hard all morning to earn money, 2 tears rolled down his nose, and he licked them without thinking.
Don't cry, Will,
said Hwmfra.
You can have a go with mine.
And mine, they all said. But it wasn't the same. So after saying, thanks for the offering, Will went home sadly. But when he got there, his father Hwmfra said,
And where have you been? Huh? In the shop, wasting your money and playing with those naughty friends of yours, I suppose?
Oh, no, indeed.
Is it true you cleaned the windows and collected snails without telling me?
Cwac. Yes, Dad.
All right. Take that.
Will closed his eyes, thinking he was about to be thumped. Then he heard laughter.
Look what I've bought for you today for helping your mum.
In front of him were the whip and top from Mr. Pugh the shop's shop.
Way! Thanks, Dad!
Cried Will. And the next minute he was playing whip and top like nobody's business. When Will went to bed that night, he dreamed that he was the best whip-and-top player of them all. Good night.
Cwac.
One morning, when Will was having his breakfast of wasp porridge as usual, all his friends arrived.
Please, Gobble Gobble,
Said Ivan.
is Will ready to come out and play yet, Gobble Gobble? Well, he's having his breakfast at the moment,
Said Martha.
Cwac, finished, Mum.
Cried Will, and he turned the bowl upside down on his head to prove it.
Well, all right. You can go then, Will. But don't dirty your clean clothes now.
She said, as Will hurried out to join the others. Then away they all went like the wind to the big field. After having a careful look round in case the bull should be near, they had a great game of football. Then in a while they heard, "Yoo-hoo, boys!" And they saw Martha standing by the barn with a plate full of little worm cakes for them, and she had glasses of something to drink on the kitchen table.
Oh, great.
They all cried, and
Scrumptious.
a happy smile crossed Martha's face when she saw them enjoying the little cakes. Then as they went out to play again, Shawnee said, "Your mam's great, yeah, Will. Isn't she, boys, eh?" "Yes," they all said. Then it was time to start playing again. This time they decided to play in the farmyard for a change. Everything went fine for a while. Dick was so pleased when he scored a goal between Ivan's legs. Then to show that he could do just as well as Dick, Will gave the ball a terrific kick and sent it flying like a bullet straight through the open window of the coal house.
Cwac, my new football.
Cried Dick anxiously,
Oh, don't worry. I'll go and fetch it.
said Will, and into the coal house he went. As the place was so dark and everything was as black as coal anyway, there was no sign of the ball.
What's the matter, Will? Can't you find the ball, no?
Asked Shawnee from the doorway.
Cwac, no, I can't.
Answered Will.
But it must be here somewhere.
I know. We'll help you look for it, yeah, won't we, boys? Said Shawnee.
Yes, of course, Gobble Gobble.
Answered Ivan, and they all went into the coal house. The next moment, Will saw the ball.
There it is, look, up there.
He cried, and when the others looked, they could see the ball lying on a high beam under the roof. Before anyone could say anything, Will flew up to the beam. But he hadn't noticed the bucket full of coal dust in the middle of the floor ready to make coal nuggets.
Cwac, here it comes now.
He shouted. The ball landed in the bucket, and the next second they were all choking and coughing in a thick cloud of black dust. Well, of course, Martha almost had a fit when she saw them covered from head to foot in the black dust. And she soon had Hwmfra, Will's father, pumping water over them from the pump in the farmyard. As he pumped, he muttered,
Rasmus, you naughty boys.
They all had to take a spoonful of Martha's medicine too. Lamp oil, soft soap and black ink, so as not to catch cold. And they all had a telling off from Martha for spoiling their clothes, especially Will. When Will went to bed that night, he thought to himself that his mother could be quite angry sometimes. But she was still the best mam in all the world, nevertheless. Good night.
Cwac.
One morning when Will came down to have his breakfast of wasp porridge, there was a very unhappy look on his mother's face.
Oh, heavens above. This place is looking like a pigsty,
She said.
I don't know when these doors last had a coat of paint, and the kitchen hasn't been whitewashed for years.
Cwac,
Said Will.
why don't you ask Dad to whitewash it?
Your father?
His mother snorted.
He's far too lazy. Listen, Will, I've got to go and see Mary Pickles now. She isn't at all well, poor dear. And while I'm away, I'd like you to look after the place and tidy the kitchen a little for me. And fetch some snails from the garden for dinner, all right?
All right, Ma'am.
When she'd gone, Will didn't take long to tidy the kitchen, as it wasn't half as untidy as you might think to hear Martha complaining. Then he took a bowl out to the garden and gathered a dozen fat, juicy snails and washed them in the sink ready for dinner.
What shall I do next?
He said to himself.
I know. Cwac! I'll whitewash the kitchen as a surprise for Mum when she comes home.
He hurried into the kitchen at once and started work. He soon had all the furniture piled in the middle of the room. Then he fetched the big washtub and half filled it with whitewash and water. Then when he'd stirred the mixture with a large wooden spoon, Will was ready to start whitewashing. Things went quite well. He flew up and down and backwards and forwards, holding the brush in his beak and stopping now and then to dip it in the tub. Before long, the first wall was finished, then the second wall, and then the third wall round the fireplace. But when he started to paint the last wall, something terrible happened. As Will turned his back to dip his brush in the whitewash, his father, Hwmfra, looked in at the window and stood there in amazement with his mouth open as he saw the mess. But before he could say a word, Will had turned back and had painted right across his father's face. When Will heard his father gasp, he had such a fright that he let go of the brush and it fell down into the tub and splashed more whitewash over Hwmfra.
Cwac! Oh, I'm sorry, Dad.
Cwac, wait till I get hold of you,
shouted Hwmfra. But as the whitewash was in his eyes, he didn't notice the tub, and the next second he plunged head over heels into it. At that very moment, Martha walked in.
Great snails! Oh, there's a snowman in my kitchen, and it's alive!
No, Ma'am. It's Dad.
Cried Will tearfully. Of course, it wasn't long before Martha had marched Hwmfra out to the backyard and set Will to pump water over his father until he was quite clean. Then she gave him a large spoonful of medicine so as not to catch cold and sent him to bed to get warm. When she saw how well Will had whitewashed the kitchen, she didn't have the heart to give him a row for whitewashing his father. That night, Will smiled and giggled to himself in bed as he remembered his father covered in whitewash.
Good night. Cwac. Oh, Cwac.
One morning when Will entered the kitchen to have breakfast, his mother and father were waiting for him. He soon finished his porridge.
Oh, Will, my boy,
Said Hwmfra.
I want you to post this letter for me in the village. And at the same time, will you fetch something for me from Mr. Pugh the shop?
Said Martha.
Here's some money to buy some dried green caterpillars and a stamp.
Cwac. A stamp.
Said Will.
Oh, yes. Oh, and a penny for you to buy sweets. Oh, and here's the letter, of course.
Cwac. Thanks, Ma'am.
Said Will, and he hurried out. It wasn't a long way to the village, and he was soon at Mr. Pugh the shop's shop. Said Mr. Pugh.
What do you want today?
Please, can I have a packet of dried green caterpillars and a stamp and a pennyworth of snail toffee, please, Mr. Pugh?
Said Mr. Pugh again, but he gave the things to Will and smiled just a little when Will paid for them.
Thank you.
After posting the letter in the postbox outside the shop, Will set off home again.
turning the corner by Owie Policeman's house and then past Ivan's place. On he went happily and thought how glad his mother and father would be that he'd done all the errands.
Hello, everybody, Cwac. I'm back.
Good heavens, that didn't take long, did it, Hwmfra?
Said Martha.
No, indeed, you're a good boy, Will,
Said Hwmfra.
You posted the letter properly, I hope?
Yes, yes.
Oh, and you've bought the green caterpillars, I see,
Said his mother.
Yes, yes. Here you are, Mum.
Oh, thank you very much, Will,
Said Martha. But then she opened her eyes in surprise.
What is this on the packet? A stamp?
Oh, yes.
Will replied innocently.
I stuck the stamp to the packet so as not to lose it as it was so small, Cwac.
What?
Gasped Hwmfra.
Do you mean to tell me that you posted the letter without sticking the stamp on it?
Why? Cwac, was I supposed to?
Will asked.
You silly little Cwac. The stamp should be on the letter, not the packet.
Oh, Cwac. Oh, dear, I didn't know that. Really, I didn't, Dad.
Said Will.
Don't you worry now, Will. Nobody had told you what to do, had they?
Said Martha. And then she started to smile and laugh.
Oh, dear. A stamp on a packet of green caterpillars. Oh.
Well, of course, Hwmfra had to write another letter, and Will had to take it to the village straight away to post. And he made sure that there was a stamp stuck on the outside this time. Will didn't have a penny to spend the second time, but that didn't worry him because he still had plenty of snail toffee. He even had some left when he went to bed.
Good night. Cwac.
One day, as Will was finishing his breakfast, Sioni came on his bike to spend the day with him.
I want you to go on an errand for me,
Said Martha.
before you go out to play, Will.
An errand, Mum?
Said Will, feeling his heart sink. But he brightened up when Martha said,
Perhaps the two of you would like to go together?
Yes, of course, Cwac.
said Will, and
With pleasure, yeah.
said Sioni, who knew how to behave when he was away from home. As Mary Pickles had been poorly for some time, Martha wanted to send her a freshly baked spider cake. So she put the cake in a small box and the box in the satchel behind the seat of Will's bike.
Now, Will, don't you go too fast, as I don't want the cake shaken all to bits.
All right, Mum.
Answered Will, and
Ta-ta for now, yeah.
said Sioni. They started out at once for Mary Pickles' house, through the woods to the village, passing Ivan's house and then turning the corner slowly by Owie Policeman's house. There they called out,
Good morning, Mr. Owie Policeman.
and made him fall out of his hammock in the front garden with surprise.
What?
He snorted, but by the time he'd got to his feet, the two had disappeared past Mr. Pugh the shop. Then at last they reached Mary Pickles' cottage. She was so pleased when she saw the cake.
Oh, it looks delicious. Fair play to your mother. Will, tell her I'm very grateful, will you? And would you too like to have a piece each?
Now, Will would have said,
Thank you very much.
without thinking. But as Sioni knew how to behave away from home, he gave Will a nudge and said,
No, yeah, thank you, Mary Pickles. Will's mum's expecting us back for dinner straight away, yeah. But thanks for the offer, no? Yeah, Will?
Yes, thanks.
said Will reluctantly. Then away they went after saying goodbye to Mary Pickles.
A wee policeman was standing on the pavement when they came by. But as they were pedalling slowly and keeping close to the curb, they weren't doing anything wrong.
Good morning again, Mr. Owie Policeman,
They cried. When they had turned the corner, Will cried,
Race you to the farm, Johnny.
and away they went like. When they got home, they decided to have some fun on their bikes. First, they cycled in circles, big ones to start with, and then smaller and smaller ones. Then they started to do zigzags. The two bikes went hurtling one way, and Will and Shonny hurtled the other, right into the mud. Well, you can guess what happened next. Hwmfra, Will's father, pumped water over the lads, and they had to run round the yard to get dry. Martha gave them a real row for getting their clothes dirty. But as they'd gone on an errand for her that morning, she forgave them, and they both had a piece of cake just like Mary Pickle's cake. So when Will went to bed that night, he felt he'd had quite a good day. On the whole.
Good night. Cwac.
One morning, Will hurried down to the kitchen where his mother was getting breakfast ready.
Ma'am, I want you to go to the village and buy me a pair of clogs. Cwac, will you please?
Said Will.
Clogs? Oh, wherever did you get such an idea, Will?
She asked.
All my friends are wearing clogs in school. Johnny, Dick, Hugh and Ivan. And I'm the only one without. Cwac?
Well, if everybody's wearing them, all right. We'll go to the shop after breakfast,
Said Martha.
Hooray! Thanks, ma'am.
When they reached the shop, Mr. Pugh the shop smiled pleasantly at Martha and Will.
Morning, what can I get you?
He asked.
Well, I've come to buy a pair of clogs for Will, Mr. Pugh.
Martha said. Mr. Pugh smiled from ear to ear.
A pair of clogs. An excellent idea, if I may say.
Mr. Pugh looked at Will.
I think I have just the thing,
He said. Before long, Will had found a pair that he liked.
Oh, thank you very much.
Mr. Pugh the shop said, and rubbed his hands together as Martha and Will left the shop. On his way to school in his new clogs, Will called for Ivan as usual.
Cwac? Well, what do you think of my clogs?
Will asked.
Gobble, gobble, Will. Just the thing for skating.
Said Ivan.
Skating?
Said Will.
Yeah, in the schoolyard. Gobble, gobble, come on.
Away they went through the village to the school, where they met their friends, all of them wearing clogs. Then they had great fun in the schoolyard, galloping to make the sound of horses' hooves, or skating across the yard. Then Will said,
Cwac, why don't we have a skating contest?
"Yeah!" they all said. Will was the best skater of them all, although Hugh came a close second. But Will could bend lower than Hugh and could whirl like a top. Then they had a race from one end of the yard to the other. But just as they were skating past the school door, Mr. Jones, the school, came out to ring the bell. Before anyone could say a word, Will's head hit Mr. Jones right in his middle and hurled him across the yard, head first into a large, smelly dustbin.
Help! Murder! Help!
Cried Mr. Jones, the school.
Wait till I get hold of you!
Oh, dear. It was an accident, sir. Cwac!
Cried Will. And
Oh, yeah, help! No!
bawled Hugh.
Well, of course, they both had to stay in and go without their tea for skating in the yard. When Hwmfra heard about it, he laughed out loud.
Let that be a lesson to you, not to be naughty at school.
And when Will told them about Mr. Jones' the school in the dustbin, even Martha had to smile. Will was still hungry when he went to bed that night. But when he remembered how Mr. Jones looked in the dustbin, he smiled and laughed to himself.
Good night.
One day, Will was very late getting up, and he entered the kitchen long after everyone had finished breakfast.
Good morning, Will,
Said his mother.
it's almost 10 o'clock. Come and have your breakfast, little Cwac.
Ma'am,
He said.
Cwac, I can't eat this porridge with...
Will, what's wrong? Are you feeling ill?
No, ma'am, I'm not ill.
What did you have for supper last night?
She asked.
Snails,
Answered Will.
they were very tasty. I had a dozen of them.
A dozen snails? No wonder you're feeling ill.
Before Will could say anything, Martha called his father.
Hwmfra! Hwmfra! Come here at once. Our Will is ill. Our Will is ill.
Why?
You must go and fetch Dr. Parry at once.
Cwac, I don't need a doctor, ma'am.
Don't want a doctor, indeed. Don't talk such nonsense. You're shaking like a jelly and as white as a candle.
And of course, Will was as white as a candle and shaking like a jelly at the thought of the row he'd get from Dr. Parry. There was nothing he could do, however, but go back upstairs and get into bed, almost in tears and crying to himself.
Cwac, I'm not ill. Cwac.
Oh,
At the same time, Hwmfra, his father, was hurrying to the village to fetch the doctor and saying,
Our Will, Rasmus David.
Will was almost out of his mind with fright by now.
Cwac, I'll have a terrible row.
He said to himself. But there was a kind look on Dr. Parry's face.
How are you feeling, Will?
Asked Dr. Parry.
Cwac, quite well, thank you.
There's a brave little duck.
Said the doctor, smiling.
And now let me have a good look at you. I'll just make you a cup of tea, Doctor.
Said Martha.
Now, Will, there's nothing wrong with you, is there?
No, doctor.
Will answered timidly.
It's my ma'am who says I'm ill, not me.
Will answered.
Because I couldn't eat my breakfast.
Oh, and why not?
The next moment, Martha heard loud laughter coming from upstairs. Then she heard Dr. Parry calling and saying,
Will is to get up at once and have breakfast.
To have breakfast? Martha thought in amazement. But Doctor knew best, so she said nothing.
Now then, Will,
Said Dr. Parry with a wink.
you have your breakfast, my lad.
I can't.
Said Will.
Will, shame on you answering the doctor back like that.
Said Martha.
And why not, Will?
The doctor went on.
Cwac, because Ma'am says I can't eat my porridge without a spoon.
And then Will and Dr. Parry started to laugh, and Hwmfra laughed, and even Martha laughed. It's not polite to eat porridge without a spoon, is it? Will was still laughing when he went to bed. Good night.
Cwac.
One day, when Will was eating his breakfast, his father Hwmfra came in with a letter. Dear everybody, just a word to let you know that our Percy is coming to stay with you tomorrow for a week, Auntie Hannah.
Oh, great,
said Will.
What's Cousin Percy like, Mum?
Oh, he's a town boy. You'll have to be kind to him because he's sure to be very quiet and shy.
The next minute, there was a knock on the back door.
Well, hello. It's Percy. Look, Will, here's your cousin,
said Martha.
Hello.
Said Will.
Would you like to come and play?
I know,
said Martha.
Why don't you take Percy to see the flowers in the garden? And then you can have a walk around the farm.
Lovely,
said Percy.
I'm very fond of flowers. All right, Mum,
said Will, with a long face at the thought of having to waste a morning looking at flowers. Will started out at once, but somehow he tripped over Percy's foot and fell flat on his beak.
Oh, Cwac! Oh, my beak!
Cried Will, and
Oh, what a pity,
said Percy. But Will couldn't help feeling that there was a shadow of a smile on Percy's face. It was very strange how Will had several accidents during the next few minutes, but nothing happened to Percy. For example, when Percy went through the garden gate, it was as if he hadn't noticed that Will was behind him, and he closed the gate right against Will's beak.
Oh, Cwac, my beak! Oh!
Cried Will again. But there were so many tears in his eyes, he didn't notice the sly smile on Percy's face. Then Percy asked Will to smell a particularly beautiful rose. He didn't notice, he said, that a bee was sipping nectar from the flower at the time. And when Will went to smell the flower, he was stung right on the tip of his beak. What a noise there was then. Will crying,
Oh, my poor beak!
louder than ever, and Percy laughing aloud.
I'm so sorry, Will.
When Will saw Percy laughing, he lost his temper.
A shy, quiet little town boy, is it? Cwac! Take that!
Then the air was full of noise as the two wrestled on the ground, quacking and rolling about until they stopped at last flat on their backs, quite out of breath. Then when Will got to his feet, fully intending to start again on Percy, he saw him grinning from ear to ear.
Cwac, that was a bit of fun. Wasn't it, Will?
Fun?
Yes. I like a good fight now and again. Cwac.
And then Will realised that Percy wasn't a bit shy and quiet, even though he was a town boy.
What'll we do next, Will? Climb trees? Play football or what?
Can you really play football?
Asked Will.
Of course I can.
And so the next minute off they went together to find Will's friends and have a game in the big field with Dick's new football. When they went to bed that night, tired out after a hard day's playing, Will was thrilled to bits that Percy would be staying for a whole week, and they'd be sure to have a great time every day.
Good night. Go back.
When Will came down to have breakfast one morning, his mother was very busy.
Here's your spoon. Hurry up and eat your breakfast, Will.
Will sat at the table and ate his breakfast at once like a good little quack. Then he peeped slyly over the edge of his plate to see what she was doing. The next instant, a smile crossed his face as he saw a big bowl on the table.
Cake!
Yes, Will. A cake for tea time.
Oh, Mum, may I help?
Well, all right,
answered Martha. First of all, Will helped to stir the mixture in the bowl, and then he poured it into a tin ready for the oven and showed what he'd done to his mother.
Oh, Very good, Will, she said. Mrs. Pugh, the shop, is coming to tea this afternoon, and I want to make a specially nice cake. And now I want you to fetch a lettuce and a dozen fresh snails from the garden for dinner, please. And she handed him a bowl.
Cwac. All right, Mum.
It didn't take him long to pick a lettuce and gather the snails. But as he went back into the house, he could already smell the cake baking in the oven. Then the two began to eat their dinner. But somehow there was something missing. Will thought hard, and then he said,
Hey, where's Dad today then? Isn't he having dinner?
No, he isn't, answered his mother. Your father has gone to the market and won't be back until much later.
Will forgot about his father when his mother fetched the cake from the oven, smelling delicious.
I'll put it on the windowsill to cool,
said Martha.
And you keep away from it.
As tea was a long time away, Will went over to Shawnee's place for the afternoon to play marbles. When he came home, Martha was waiting for him, and there was a very angry look on her face.
Hello, Mum,
cried Will cheerily.
You thief! Come here at once so that I can give you a good hiding. Oh, I'll teach you not to steal my best cake.
Martha grabbed Will by the ear and took him into the kitchen. Will turned quite pale.
Cwac! Mum, I haven't touched the cake, honest! Cwac!
Don't you tell lies,
she cried even more angrily.
Who else could have taken a piece of the cake?
Wow.
It was me, Martha,
said a voice behind her. And they saw Hwmfra, Will's father, standing there looking very guilty.
You, Hwmfra?
said Martha in amazement.
Yes,
said Hwmfra.
I was simply starving when I came home. Well, yes, of course you were,
answered Martha, because Hwmfra wasn't to know that she was keeping it especially for Mrs. Pugh the shop, was he? So she said she was sorry for suspecting Will and cut him a large piece of the cake. After all, she still had plenty of time to make little cakes for tea. Martha gave Will another piece of the cake at bedtime, and when he fell asleep, his tummy was quite full.
Good night, Cwac.